What number did you say?
Oh, they're right there in front of us. My next question.
Señores, cállense la boca.
Yeah, go. Okay. So last year, I ended my school year with a 2.0 GPA. I had begun to withdraw from my family and friends, and I was seriously considered dropping out of school. I'm telling you this because I suffered from anxiety and from depression. And I was sick, and I wanted to go get help. So when I went to get help, I was met with a system that was not properly handling my mental health needs, and at times would refuse to even see me. And this is something that happens to a lot of people. We have a mental health care system that does not properly address our mental health needs, and it's because there's this stigma that mental illness is not a valid illness. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the mental health problem. The mental health care is not efficiently handling our needs, the stigma of why it's a problem, and third, how you can help. So, to start off, young adults most in need of early intervention are most in need of early intervention in mental health care, according to BMC Psychiatry 2016. So, say you have symptoms of a mental illness. You would go to your primary physician, your primary doctor, because they're supposed to handle your day-to-day care. So it's normal to go see them. The only problem is that when you do go see them, they don't have adequate training in psychiatry. It's very limited, and they don't have the time to properly address your mental health needs. And this is according to the American Psychological Association, 2012. So what they do is they send you to a different place to get your mental health care that is not in the primary care settings. So you're like, okay, that's fine, I'll go somewhere else, my insurance will cover it, that's okay. The problem is, if you try to get an appointment, it'll take you 2 to 3 months, usually, to get an appointment to get seen. What happens is that you're going in there saying that you're sick, and they're saying, well, you're not sick enough, because unless you have suicidal tendencies, unless you have a severe mental illness, you are not going to get help as quickly as you'd like. So what I did, I went to go see a private therapist, and she was very well trained in depression and anxiety, and she really helped me out. I was seeing her every week, and it was really helpful. But it cost me $150 a week to see her, and I didn't have that kind of money. So the problem is that private therapists do not take insurance. If your insurance is covered by the government, they won't take that. It doesn't benefit them. If you get your insurance from an employer, they're not going to take it because it doesn't benefit them. So you're kind of screwed if you want to get that proper treatment. And so I quit because I couldn't afford it. And so I was left feeling disappointed. I felt like I was never going to get better. I felt that my life didn't matter. And I isolated myself, and there was a day where I actually almost made an attempt to take away my own life. And there are many people who go through that because of this system that's inefficient at meeting our needs. So, how did we arrive at this problem? There's this stigma, which is a mark of disgrace, that says that mental illnesses are not valid illnesses. It says that we bring upon those feelings on our own, that we can control those feelings. And you see this most directly, you receive the stigma most directly from your family. According to the Journal of Black Psychology 2010. For example, I grew up in a Mexican household. I had a very tough mother. She didn't believe in anxiety, she didn't believe in depression. So when I was little, she told me that I had to get over myself, that it was in my head, that I had to be stronger because it was a sign of weakness. And I developed a lot of shame in myself. I developed a lot of self-hatred. I kept in my anxieties, I kept in my symptoms growing up. At times where I would feel depressed and anxious, I would actually go away from my house to a park where nobody was, park my car, and I would cry for like an hour because I didn't want to be rejected by my mother, I didn't want to be rejected by my family, and I didn't want to be rejected by society. So, to take this in a little bit more perspective, you would never question somebody with a physical illness, and you would never blame them for having the physical illness. For example, if somebody breaks their leg, you wouldn't say, you know what, you just have to get over it and move on. If somebody has diabetes, you don't say things like that. You say you have to get immediate care. That's something that you just have to do. We just take that as fact. And the truth is that there's no brainer to get help if you have a physical illness. And it's because you can see the pain that you believe that it's real. And I want to tell you here that just because you can't see pain doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It does exist. I have felt anxiety so deep that I don't feel safe in my own home. I have developed either days that I can't even get out of bed because I just can't. I feel this pain, I feel this weight over me, and that is real pain. I can tell you that. So, this stigma works towards distancing mental illnesses from our perception of what an illness is. This is what makes mental health care different from your day-to-day health care, because that mental health care is not good enough to be in your primary day-to-day health. It's the reason that government cuts funds on mental health care, because it's seen as a waste, because it's something that's in people's heads and they can get through. Now, what can we do to help this problem? And I can tell you that each and every one of you can do something to help this and to fight this stigma. That's what you can do. We can fight the stigma, get rid of the social distancing that contributes to a lack of mental health care resources. For example, if you suspect that someone suffers from a mental illness, show interest in them, listen to them. Even if you don't know what it's like to go through a mental deficiency, a mental illness, people want to be heard. They want to feel accepted. Support them, support your friends, support your family, your boyfriend, girlfriend. Just listen and try to understand them because they don't understand themselves. Finally, do not turn people away. They might be reaching out to you for help and you don't even know it. For example, one day after this class, I was feeling very upset and very anxious, and so I went to go see Mr. Kazan in his office. And we have really great talks during his office hours, and I went over to him, and he always brings out a side of me that I love, and it makes me feel powerful and inspired. And I'd like to think that that day, he saved me from myself. And third of all, community support. Don't forget that you have a community that supports you. Here on campus, we have a club called Active Minds. I personally have never attended, but I believe it's every Thursday, and they help you get resources that you need, depending on what kind of insurance you have. They meet with people so you can, have a community of people who are going through things just like you are. And even COD has psychological services. I believe that they will they will do hour-long sit-downs 6 times a semester if you need it, completely free. And fourth of all, for anybody who is going through a hard time, anyone who feels a mental deficiency, I want you to know that if you're ever having a tough time, speak out. I know I'm not the most approachable person in the world, but I want you to know that if you ever need to talk to anybody, I am here, and I promise I will listen to you. And in that moment, whatever you're going through, we will get through it together, because you are not alone and your life matters. And I want you to know that. So in conclusion, it's time to take mental health care seriously. 1 in 4 college students suffer some degree of mental illness, according to a study by the National Association of Mental Illness. As suicide rates among college students continue to rise, as dropout rates continue to go up as well, it is important that we push past the stigma and reform our mental health care systems. At a crucial age in development, college students must be given the adequate resources to live a functional lifestyle.
Thank you, Isabel.